Hello everyone, John Dallas here, and today I'm going to be breaking down the making of my song As You Wish, which you might have heard on my last album Seasons, which came out April 16th. And I'm breaking down this song in particular to start off because it's the shortest song on the album, so it'll take the least amount of breaking down. It's also one of the simpler ones too. And hope you guys enjoy this video. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know. And let's get started. So the song starts out with this synth line. And the synth line is really simple. It's just one chord and then it changes up at the end, and you can clearly hear that it has a tremolo on it. Like where it's kind of wavy, that's what a tremolo is, in case you didn't know. And the reason there's two synth lines here is because one is just a normal synth and the other is down the octave. And this is a trick that I do a lot to kind of make parts of the mix stand out more and make like certain synth parts pop a little bit more and feel a little bit more complete. And you can hear if I do that as opposed to just one, it packs a lot more of a punch. And then the bass line comes in here. And the thing that makes this bass different from some other bass lines I've done is that it's not always playing constant notes throughout every single beat. Like there are parts here you can hear. We solo the bass here. Like right there, and right there, and right there, like where it stops and takes a rest for a beat. And it doesn't always play, and that gives it a more unique sound, especially when these synths are playing constantly. And then we bring in this synth line here, which is the first main melody, which is very simple. It's just 4 notes. 3 notes, actually. And playing over that, we have... And the drums come in. We have this melody up here. It's playing the same thing, only an octave higher. And here's the drums, what they start off with. Just a simple hi-hat rhythm, as you can clearly hear. And they start and they go along, and we play everything else. They build up. The kick comes in. Then we get to this melody that transitions into the chorus. And we have this pre-chorus melody here, in case you didn't hear me over the music. And let me play how the drums sort of build up to the pre-chorus as they kind of get more in them. The kick comes in. And the snare comes in. Kind of has a shuffly sort of vibe to it. And then we have the pre-chorus, and then here's what the bass and the synths are doing. And you could hear that not only the bass is taking rest, but now the synth is taking rest, and that leaves room for when this melody is playing. It rings out while everything else is resting for 2 beats. I believe 2 beats anyway. And let me play the entire pre-chorus. Then we kick into the chorus, which has rest, like I mentioned before, with like the bass and some of the synth parts also. Let me play it for you. And like I said, parts of the synth lines are resting on certain beats, but the synths down here, let me solo them for you, are constantly playing like they were in the intro. And they're playing a really basic chord progression, as you can hear. And here's what the drums are doing. Just a simple beat. Simple, steady beat. You can hear the echo on it when I stop it. And then here's the bass. It's not too aggressive sounding, and you can hear those rest points where it's kind of staccato-ish. And here's the synth and the bass. And you can tell the synth is kind of doing what the bass is doing, in that it's resting at certain points, but it's also playing constant at other points to kind of even it out. And then here's the little melody on top of that. It's constantly playing. Here's the whole chorus. And I almost forgot to mention the distorted synths, which here's what they sound like. They're super chunky and abrasive, and they almost remind you of something like out of an arcade game, like something you hear on there. And it is obviously a synth, but I tried to make it sound like a guitar as to why it's called distorted synth. Because whenever I record my guitar on GarageBand, it sounds like crap. And then this bass line here takes us into the first verse. And one interesting thing the bass is doing is it starts off, and then it goes down the fretboard, and then right here, it's doing that triplet note, and still leaving the spaces in between, as you can hear. And then here's what the drums are a little more simplified with the toms. Then we have this little melody over it. Huge break there. Then there's a little melody over here that's kind of doing the exact same thing, but only it's up an octave. Then we have this little chord progression here that this synth is doing, which transitions back into the chorus. And the bass is actually only playing root notes, which is something I rarely ever do when programming a bass on my songs. I usually try to make it do its own thing, but sometimes there are scenarios where it's better off just playing root notes. That's the pre-chorus. And then the chorus kicks in. Super simple, but super effective. And let me play the distorted synths again with the drums and everything. And everything is pretty much the same. The only difference is that this synth up here is also playing a melody, but it's up an octave. Sounds super cool with the synth down here. And then we get to the bridge, which is probably my favorite part of the song. That simple little post-chorus part leads us into the bridge, which goes like this. Again, the bass is playing whole notes, which is something that's rare. I mean, not whole notes, I mean root notes. Really dark, ominous sounding melody. Then we get to the solo, which I'm going to play right here with the two synths. And I'm going to leave the distorted synths off. I'll play those in a sec. It's a relatively short solo, but there's a lot of like sort of noodling parts in there that resemble almost something of a guitar. Like I said before, I tried to make some of the synths sound like guitars, and here's what the distorted synths. Just makes a really huge sound, and let me play the entire solo with the drums and the bass added in. here, I toned back and made like the drums and the bass really simple. Like here's the drum beat. It's really slow, really laid back, just to leave room for the solo to kind of pop out at you. And then here's this little drum fill that leads into the last chorus. And then we get right back into the chorus, which is basically the same. You get the drift, then we get to the end, and the bass and drums lead us out. And that's it. And that was the making of As You Wish. Leave a comment and like if you enjoyed. If you want to see more stuff like this, let me know. And yeah, that's about it.